This is a message for Christian women. I'm going to go over faith without works, starting in James chapter 2, verse 20. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead. That word works in the Strong's Concordance is G2041. It's an act, a deed, something that you do. Was not Abraham our father justified by works, when he had offered Isaac his son upon the altar? Seest thou how faith wrought with his works? So his faith and works went hand in hand. And by works was faith made perfect. His faith was made complete. Be ye holy, for I am holy. Be perfect, for I am perfect. And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God. To believe is to obey. You see then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only. It's not just this superstitious faith. Your faith comes with an action. Your faith is belief, which is obedience. 1 Peter 2, 7-8, the perfect example. Unbelief is disobedience. Likewise, also was not Rahab the harlot justified by works, when she had received the messengers and had sent them out another way? For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Your faith and your obedience go hand in hand. So now I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 22 to see exactly what happened with Abraham and his son. Starting at verse 1, and it came to pass after these things, that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him. So right here, early in the morning, a day begins at dawn. And took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which Yah had told him. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife. And they both went together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, Yah will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which Yah had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest Jehovah, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. To fear Jehovah is an idiom for keeping his commandments, obeying him. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of the heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith Jehovah, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the sea shore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Abraham feared the Lord and kept his commandment, and now he's been rewarded. And because of that, he was given the promise regarding his seed. If you're a part of Abraham's seed, you will do the works that he did, and you will circumcise your heart towards obedience. And I just wanted to go to Genesis 18 real quick, at verse 19, which says, For I know him, that he will command his children in his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And it says in that verse, to do justice. And when you look up that word justice in the Strong's Concordance, it is righteousness. And in Psalms 119, 172, it says, My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. And then you go back to Deuteronomy 6, verse 24 and 25, which say, And the Lord Jehovah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God, again, which is an idiom for keeping the commandments, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is as this day. And it shall be our righteousness, if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord Jehovah, as he hath commanded us. His righteousness are his 10 commandments, and they become our righteousness once we observe to do them. The Messiah told you in John 14:15, if you love me, keep my commandments. Key word being if. And not only in Genesis 18:19 does it talk about doing justice, but it talks about doing judgment. To judge righteous judgment, according to Jehovah's standard of righteousness, his 10 commandments, which is to fulfill the royal law, James 2:8-9. If ye fulfill the royal law, according to the scriptures, so quoting back to Leviticus 19:15-18. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, ye do well. But if you have respect to persons, you commit sin and are convinced of the law as transgressors. So now I'm going to go back to Leviticus 19, starting at verse 15, which says, You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am Jehovah. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. 1 John 3:4. Whosoever committed sin transgresses also the law, for sin is transgression of the law. Sin is transgression of God's law, the Holy Covenant, the 10 Commandments, Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. These are the two greatest commandments written of in Matthew 22, verses 36 through 40. To love God and to love thy neighbor as thyself, which summarize the 10. But to go back to Genesis 18, verse 19, it says, "For I know him that he will command his children in his household after him." So when it says for commandment number 5 to honor thy father and mother, it really means that parents should be keeping the 10 commandments and teaching their children to keep the 10 commandments. I also wanted to go to Genesis 26, 4 through 5, which goes with Genesis 18, verse 19, and Genesis 22, verse 18, which say, "And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws." Abraham showed his faith through his actions. He showed reverence to the Father. He worshiped the Father in spirit and in truth. He showed us what it actually means to love God more than anything else. Because in Matthew 10:37, "He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." And I also just wanted to go to Joshua chapter 2, just to read through what happened on Rahab's account. So, starting at verse 1, "And Joshua the son of Nun sent out Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out of all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them. So Rahab the harlot hid the 2 men, and said thus, There came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went, I wot not." So she said she didn't know where they went. "Pursue after them quickly, for you shall overtake them." But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan, unto the fords, and as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto them, I know that the Lord Jehovah hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. And as soon as we heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man, because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in the earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you swear unto me by the Lord, since I have shown you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that you will save alive my mother and my father, my mother, and my brethren, and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, Our life for yours, if you utter not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let down Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the tall wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, Get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you. And hide yourselves there 3 days until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may you go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of thine oath, which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou didst let us down by. And thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother, and thy brethren, and all thy father's household home unto thee. So, through her obedience, not only did she save herself, but she saved her entire household. Hebrews 11, another perfect example, all about faith. Noah built the ark. Read the book of Acts. It's all the actions of the apostles. You have to keep the good works ordained of old that you should walk in, which are the 10 Commandments. But they aren't actually a work. It's not a work to rest on the Sabbath day. It's not a work to honor thy father and thy mother. It's not a work to not murder. But it is a work to break the commandments. It's a work made of men's hands when you create a graven image, an idol, like your Mary statues and your crosses. If you love God, you will show God through your actions, your obedience. Obey his holy covenant, and then enter into the work of the prophets by becoming, in Ezekiel 2, 3, and 33, watchmen. To watch means to warn people to repent from their sin before destruction hits, to spiritually sound the shofar and blow the trumpet. That is working the harvest, to find the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because remember, the kingdom was split into 2. The northern 10 tribes, Israel, scattered into the Gentiles, and the 2 southern tribes, Judah and Benjamin. You have to be grafted into the commonwealth of Israel in order to make it into the gates of the city. Read Revelation 21:12.